Okay, so now we will see next 5 question, that is from question number 26 to question number 30 for the professional data engineering exam. So in question number 26, let's see, you are working on a sensitive project, okay, involving private user data. You have set up a project on GCP to house your work internally, okay. An external consultant is going to assist with coding a complex transformation in a Google Cloud Dataflow pipeline for your project. How should you maintain user privacy? Okay, so what is basically mentioned in this question is, like, we are working on some project, and that project has some very sensitive user data, okay. And our project is in the GCP, that is a common, that is in the Google Cloud platform, and we want to set up some Google Cloud data flow pipeline. But to set up the data flow pipeline, and the pipeline is very complex, so we need some help from some external consultant, right? So we need to, like, if we want some help from the external consultant, so we need to provide some access to the external consultant, right? So if we will provide the access to the external consultant, so how we can make sure that he should not have access to the private user data, like he should not able to like look at on the user data. So how should you maintain the user privacy? So we have 4 options given. First is that grant the consultant the viewer role on the project. So it is mentioned, do one thing, so whoever be the consultant, give the viewer role on the project. So it is totally wrong. Why? Like, a project is a very high level hierarchy, right? But we need help of the consultant only in the cloud data flow. So why we give the viewer role on the project rather than on the cloud data flow? So we should not give a very like broader role. So option A is totally like wrong here. Grant the consultant the cloud data flow developer role on the project. Okay, so this looks something okay, because we need to grant some role to the consultant, but only for the cloud data flow service within the project. But it is mentioned here, we need to provide the developer role. So first we need to know, like, okay, if we are giving developer role, so as part of the developer role, what access the consultant will gain. So let's check the official document. So as part of the developer role, so we will only provided the execute pipeline access and the manipulate data flow jobs access. So we are not giving any storage access. So for the storage access, like either we need to give the worker access. So as part of the worker access, like they will get the storage bucket access. So as part of this, we are giving just the developer access. So the developer access gives the permission to execute the pipeline and to manipulate the data flow jobs. So that's it. So B looks okay in this case, but before deciding the B option, let's look at the other option, whether we can eliminate or not. Create a service account and then allow the consultant to log with it. So this is wrong, because the service account is basically used for the application purpose, not for the individual purpose. So if one application wants to connect with the cloud data flow, so that will connect using the service account. So but here the consultant wants to connect with the cloud data flow, so we can't create a service account for the consultant. So option C is eliminated. So A and C both are wrong. Fourth thing is, create an anonymized sample of data for the consultant to work with the different project. This will also work. So it is mentioned that, okay, our main concern is like we want the user privacy. So do one thing, anonymize the data and put the data in, like, create a different project, anonymize the data, load the data into some another project, and then set up the different like complex pipeline by taking the help of the consultant. But this option like will definitely work, but this option is creating a like so many management overhead, because first we need to create a different project, right? Then we need to load a sample data from original project to this project, and then we need to like anonymized a sample data, and then we'll take a consultant help to set up the complex pipeline. Then once we like know how to set up the complex pipeline, then we will go back to the original project, and then we will like set up our, the data flow pipeline in the original requested project. But if like again we need some help, then we will again go back to the consultant. So this will like unnecessary create overhead. So better just use the roles option, because that is the cloud data flow developer role option, because this will not give the access of the data. This will only give the access to the jobs. That is like either the developer role will give the following roles, that is provide the permission necessary to execute and manipulate data flow jobs. So option number B looks okay to me, but here it is giving option number C, which is incorrect. If you go to the discussion tab, so most of the people say option number B, but 1 or 2 people also say option number D, but we will go with the option number B. Okay, so question number 27, you are building a model to predict whether or not it will be rain on a given day. Okay, we need to create a model just to predict whether like there will be rain on a particular given day or not. You have 1,000 of input feature. Okay, we have 1,000 of input feature. Okay, to see if you can improve training speed. So if we have the large number of features and we will use all the feature, then the training speed of the model will be get decreased. So we want to improve the training speed by removing some feature, but we don't want to minimize the accuracy. So what we can do? So first option is eliminate feature that are highly correlated to the output label. So this is totally wrong, because those feature which are highly correlated to the output, that is which like decide whether the today will be rain or not, they told that eliminate those feature. If we eliminate those feature, then there is no use for the model, because the model accuracy will be very poor, because these are the highly feature like on which like the output will be depend. So eliminating the feature will not work. So option A is wrong. B option is combined highly code dependent feature into the one representative feature. So B say that like we have the like 1,000 of input feature, right? So what we will do, we will combine those feature which are highly correlated. So let's suppose the 10 feature and they are highly correlated, so we will like make a single feature. So in this way what we have to do, what we are doing is we are like removing some features. So this option will work, but before deciding the option number B, let's look at the other options. Instead of feeding in each feature individually, average their value in a batch of 3. So they told that we will use all the 1,000 feature, but we will feed in a batch of 3 into the model. But this is wrong, because in the question itself we need to increase the training speed by removing some feature, but in this case we are not removing some feature. So option C is wrong. Option D is remove the feature, okay, that have null values for more than 50% of the training records. Okay, they said that okay, do one thing, let's remove those feature in which more than 50% of the data is like remove those columns in which more than 50% of the values have the null values. But I don't like this may work, but like this will like decrease our model accuracy. Along with that, let's suppose if we have 1,000 feature and in all the 1,000 feature we have like those record more than 50% of the record which have the null value. So does it mean shall we remove all the features? So if we remove all the feature, on which feature we will train the model? So option number like D will work, but it like we generally not remove the like missing value, though we will impute the missing values with some like whether by mean or median. So option B looks like best out of the 4 option. So do one thing like highly code dependent feature and make a one feature. So option B looks okay. So as per them, option B looks okay. And even if we go through the discussion community, most of the people say option number B, but some people also say option number D, but I will go with the option number B. Question number 28. Your company is performing data pre-processing from a learning algorithm in Google Cloud Data Flow. Okay, So data flow is basically, you know, like we took some data, we transform the data, and we put the data into another destination. So cloud data flow, so we are doing the same thing. We are using the cloud data flow. We are taking a data and we are pre-processing it. Why we are processing? So that we can like use the data for some algorithms. Numerous data logs are being generated during this step, and team wants to analyze them. So during this all this pre-processing steps, so number of logs are getting generated, and our team wants to analyze those logs. Due to dynamic nature of the campaign, the data is growing exponentially every hour. So if the data is growing exponentially every hour, the logs also will like generated in a very exponential manner. So data scientists have written some few query to read the data for a new key feature in the logs. So what the query is? BigQuery IO read. So it means like the data is in the form of the BigQuery. So that is the after pre-processing, the data will store in the BigQuery. So they said, okay, read the data and read log data from table name. That's it. So it means they are reading everything from the BigQuery, but generally it is not recommended in the BigQuery to read everything. We always read it is recommended just read only those fields which are like which is required. So how we will improve the performance of the data read? Because if we read everything now, definitely the performance will get decreased. BigQuery is not designed in this way that to read everything. So first thing is specify the table reference object in the code. So they told that, okay, do one thing, specify the table reference object in the code. Table reference object is already mentioned, that is the from table name. So option A is not looks okay. Second thing, they use dot from query operation to read specific fields from the table. So they told that rather than the dot from operation, do dot from query. So we have two operations, one is dot from and other is dot from query. So dot from means just read everything from the table. Dot from query means, so whatever in the query, let dot from query bracket start, select feature 1 comma feature 2 and then from table name. So whatever will be in the query, only those feature will be returned as an output. So B looks like definitely okay, because in the BigQuery it is always recommended to read only specific field whatever we required. Third option is use of both the Google BigQuery table schema and the table field schema classes. So table schema and the tables, these are the like some Java classes, table schema and the table field schema. But these classes are generally used to transform the JSON data. But here in this like nothing is mentioned whether it is like a JSON data or it is a CSV data or Parquet data, AAR form. So this is not the correct option. Fourth option is use you call a transform that returns a table row object where each element in the P collection represents a single row in the table. Okay, they are saying that, okay, do one thing, whatever the table row will return to us, perform a transform on that, and if we perform the transform, and it will like give us only the required features. But my concern is that, okay, this will definitely work, but why can't we just read those field which is required? Why can't we first read everything and then apply the transform? So this will not, I don't think like this will increase the performance. So option B is like more like appropriate out of this four option. Like rather than reading everything, just read those field which we required. So here it is given option D, but as per me it is option B. If I go to the discussion community, most of the people say B, but most of like some people say D as well, like B, but some people say D as well. So like it should be B, but some people say D. But I don't go with the D, because the D said that call a transform that returns table row object where each element in the P collection requires a single row in the table. So it looks to me first read everything and then perform a transform. So which generally don't generally not recommended in the big query operations. So I will go with the from query operation, because in the query itself we need to read the new features. Only we want to read new features. So just mention like select those feature from the query. So option B looks okay to me. Question number 29. Your company is streaming real-time sensor data from their factory floor into the big table. Okay, so we are like we have one company and we are like loading it real-time sensor data. Real-time sensor data, just note the keyword, that is the real-time sensor data, and we are loading the data into the big table. But we have noticed a very poor performance on querying. Okay, so okay, we have stored the data, but when we are querying the big table for the real-time dashboard, we see that the query is taking so much time, right? So how we can improve the query? So big table generally like store the data in a form of key and value. So that's why like it is mentioned, how should the row key should be improved, how should you redesign. So if we go to the redesigning the schema, so this is under the big table and it is redesigning the schema. So this is the official documentation, so designing your schema. So if you go through this document, so let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, so row key, because we need to improve our schema. So it is generally recommended, rather than a one key, use the multiple key, use multiple delimiter value in each row key. Example, rather than just phone number, use phone number, India, country name, and then some other delimiter as well as a row key also. And what is not recommended, we will see that as well. So row key which is to, so row key that start with the timestamp should be avoided, right? So use a row key form of a timestamp, use a row key form a sensor ID, and use a multiple row keys. So we already see as per in the official documentation, like it is generally recommended to use the multiple keys, right? So option 1 and option 2 like neglected. Now option C and option D. On option D we have the 2 keys, and option D we have the 2 keys, but the sequence is different. Here timestamp is at the first column, here sensor ID as the first column. But if we reread the official documentation, row keys to avoid. So row key that start with the timestamp should be avoided. So we will not use this row key which start with the timestamp, though we will use that row key which will which not start with the timestamp. So option D is correct. So as per the website, option D, and most of the people say option D, even all the people say option D. Now question number 30. Okay, question number 30 says your company customer and order database are often heavy load. Okay, we have one company and we have the few database. One is the customer database and one is the order database, and they are under heavy load. So many operations are performing on it. This make performing analytics against them difficult without hampering operation. So they are already under very heavy load, right? And like people are ordering their products, cancelling their products, querying their products. So we are like customer are like doing so many operations. So our database are already under like very heavy load, and they are saying that, and we want some analytics operation as well for on them. So if we perform analytics operation on those database which are already under heavy load, so it will like making analytics very difficult, and it will also hampering the operation, because if the database under already heavy load and we perform so like again like so many operations on it, then maybe like customers start facing issue. So the database is the MySQL. Okay, fine, and we have the nightly backup available as well using MySQL dump. Okay, you want to perform analytics with minimal impacts on operation. So how we will do like analytics, because we know the database is already under heavy load, but we also want to perform the analytics. So how we will perform the analytics? So what should we do? So add a node to the MySQL cluster and build a OLAP cube there. So they told that okay, we have the one MySQL cluster, do one thing, add one more cluster. So this is like a note and add one more cluster. Now we have the one more cluster, so more CPU, more storage, and now perform the like OLAP operation. OLAP operation means that the analytics, online analytics operations. So this is not recommended. Second is use an ETL tool to load the data from MySQL into the Google BigQuery. Okay, they told one thing, do one thing, use the ETL tool, that is a extract, transform and load. So extract the data, transform the data and load the data from MySQL into the Google BigQuery. But see one thing, if we extract the data, so to extract the data from the MySQL, again we need to perform some operations, right? Again we are putting some heavy load. It's okay, we are putting into the Google BigQuery, and on the Google BigQuery like we can perform the like analytics operation. So analytics is okay, but again if we use the extract operation on the MySQL data from MySQL, then we are putting a load on those database which is already under the heavy load, so it will hamper our operation. So B is not looks okay to me. Connect an on-premises Apache Hadoop cluster to the MySQL and perform ETL. Okay, they showed that do one thing, use an on-premises cluster and connect that to the MySQL, and on the on-premises perform the analytics. So why we use the on-premises here when we have everything on the cloud? So C doesn't look good to me. Fourth option is mount the backup to the Google Cloud SQL and then process the data using the Cloud Data Proc. Okay, they told that we have the MySQL cluster, okay, but we have the backup as well, right? When we already have the backup, so why can't we like take the advantage of this backup? So take this backup and load the backup into the Cloud SQL, okay, then process this backup using the Cloud Data Proc. So Cloud Data Proc means like just to transform the data, right? And then we can like load into like BigQuery or any other, and then we can perform the analytical operation. So D looks perfectly okay to me, because in the D operation we are not even touching the existing database which are under the heavy load. We are using the backup, so we already have the backup. We are not touching the existing databases, right? So we are not hampering any like real time like operations which is going on. So we are using the mount the backups of, we are using the backups which are available to us, and we are like use the backups, load the data from the backup to the Cloud SQL, and now use the Cloud Data Proc operations to process the data from Cloud SQL to the BigQuery, and then we can use the analytics operation. So we in this way our like requirement is satisfied, and we are not even like touching the databases. But so option A is totally wrong, option C is totally wrong, but we are confused between the option B and option D. But if we go see the option number B, use an ETL tool to load the data from MySQL, because here it is not mentioned from where we will load the data, whether we will load the data from the dump or from where. So they told that no, we will load the data from the MySQL. So if we load the data from the MySQL, then we have to perform some operation on the existing database, so which will put the load. So that's why I will not going to select the option number B, but I will select the option number D, because here we have C, we have like the backups available, so we will take the advantage of the backups. If I reveal the answer, it is option C. Option C doesn't look good to me. If I go to the discussion tab, so most of the people say option number D, but there are many people as well like who say option number B and option number C as well. So no one say option number A, but most of the people say B, like few people say option number D, few people say option number B, few people say option number C, but I will not go with the option number C where it is mentioned on premises. Yes, we can like decide from the option number B and option number D, but option number D looks like perfectly okay to me, because we are using the like the backups, and we are not touching the database on which already like operations are performing by the customers. Because if we use the option number B, we are touching the databases which are already under heavy load, and we so the operation will be get hampered. So option number D looks okay to me. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of the video. But still, like, all these answers as per my knowledge and as per like whatever I searched over the Google, and whatever I got the information from the discussion tab. But if you think like the answer should be some other options, then you can like leave your comment.